Welcome to Liesel's Artistic Studio. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets to painting these beautiful and effortless watercolor gladiolus. And then a little later on, I will reveal the ultimate ceramic palettes. Seriously, my favorite palettes ever. So make sure you stick around for that. But for now, let's get to this fun and easy painting. Today, I'm going to be playing around with some Meeden brand products. So here I have a cute little set of 24 assorted colors. Now, as a heads up, these are considered student grade paints, so we'll keep that in mind as we go. Then I have some absolutely beautiful Meeden brushes that I'll be using today. These are seriously so beautiful. I'm super excited to give them a try. The only downfall to these is that they don't have the size number printed on the brush, but I'm going to go ahead and grab a large, a medium, and a small round brush for today's painting. Now I've got some clean water in this awesome Meeden ceramic brush wash bowl. I'm excited for this also because normally I just have one little glass of water, so I end up having to get up and change out my water frequently. But this has two separate wells connected together, which is going to be super convenient. And for testing out these paint colors today, I have a nice flat ceramic tray. And then of course I have watercolor paper. This is 100% cotton, 140-pound cold press, acid-free paper. So I have high hopes for this today. It is 10 by 7 inch, so it is a little smaller than I usually use, but small paper can often come in handy. So it all depends on your own preference. The interesting thing about this little pad of paper is that it is all bound or glued together here along the edge, holding the paper tight and close together. This feature allows you to be able to paint right in the booklet. It holds your paper nice and tight to help with warping while you paint, and basically is acting as if you had taped your paper down to your table. Then there is this small section at the top that allows you to cut the paper out when you're done. I will show you how to do this in just a little bit. All right, I've picked out a handful of colors that I'd like to try out and see if they might work for my gladiolas. So let's do some quick color swatches to test out the colors and the paints themselves. Here I've got gamboge, rose, brilliant purple, sap green, and black. I'm actually going to pull out a flat brush to quickly test out these colors with. I'm going to do 2 swatches of each color, a nice dark and pigmented strip, and then I'll water it down and see the lighter and hopefully more transparent strip. So far, these are looking really good. They're going on nice and smooth. The transparency of the lighter colors is good. The hues of the colors are really pretty. The green does seem a little brighter than I'd like for this particular painting though, so I am going to try mixing the green with a little bit of black to see if I might make it a little darker and a little more toned down. This mixed green is a little bit more what I'm looking for this gladiola painting, and I'm really liking the light transparent rose pink for the flowers themselves. So let's get started and give these flowers a try. And as a side note, any of these Meeden products that you see today, as well as the ceramic palettes I will be showing you later, will be listed in the description of this video if you're interested in looking into them further. Now, I do need to cut this test paper off so I can have a clean sheet to work with, so I'm just going to take my palette knife here, or you could use a letter opener or something, and you just slip the blade in between this top sheet and the rest of the pad. Then slide and cut through the blue tape or glue all the way around until the paper is released, and then you're ready to paint again. All right, because gladiolas are nice and tall flowers, I'll place my paper in a vertical position. And then as an option, you can lightly draw with a pencil 3 lines on your paper to represent where your flower stalks are going to be placed. This just helps give me a guide as to where to start painting my flowers. Now I'll take this largest round brush and add some extra water to this rose pigment to lighten it up and make it a nice transparent value of color. Then I'll start painting a set of 3 petals right close to the center line. Now, all I'm doing to create these petals is start with the tip of my brush at the center of the petal and flower, and then using about 3 to 4 strokes of the brush, I'll pull out and down to form a petal. Then I'll leave the end or the tip of the petal a little rough and jagged. I'm really not trying to make these a perfect shape or a perfect size. I'm just simplifying these flowers by keeping it loose and moving quickly. Then after I've got my 3 petals done, and while they're still wet, I'll take a little bit more of concentrated darker pink and dab in a few dots of color right in the center of the flower and let it spread. Now I'll repeat this process over again until I have 2 or 3 of these flowers on each pencil line or flower stalk. If you're enjoying or finding any of this information helpful today, I hope you'll consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on more helpful painting tips in the future. And don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment so that YouTube knows that you're enjoying my content. Now that the start of these big main flowers are painted, while I let them finish drying completely, I'm going to add some buds to the tops of the stalks. The goal here is to make them smaller in size as I move up to the tip of the stalk. Now you'll notice that the slightly bigger buds are basically painted in the same way as the previous petals. Then if you'd like, you can add a dot of darker color to the buds at the inner point closest to the stalk. I think I've decided that this nice little pad of watercolor paper is the perfect pad to add to my portable easel supplies. This is great to just take on the go. All right, now comes the fun part. This is where the painting starts to come to life. We are going to finish off these flower blooms now, and the best part of this is that we are going to use the exact same painting process as we just did before. Easy peasy, right? So go ahead and start painting in another set of 3 petals on each flower in between the petals we previously painted. Now, the trick here is to keep the paint watered down and transparent enough so that you can still see hints of the first petals underneath. I have also found that this transparent layering effect works the best on 100% cotton paper. Now, go ahead and finish off those open gladiolas on each stalk. When you're done painting all the open gladiolas, it might be fun to add another overlapping petal on some of these larger opening buds too. Now that I've had a chance to see how my composition is turning out, I'm going to add 2 more smaller stalks of flowers on either side of these first 3 stalks. All right, when the entire painting is dry at this point, let's switch over to this medium round and add in some stems and greenery to finish this painting off. So I'm going to mix together this sap green with a little bit of black for a darker and more natural looking green. Then we'll start at the top of the flower stalk and paint a green line above and in between the flowers, gradually making the line thicker as we move downward. Then we'll come back up to the flowering buds and add a touch of greenery around the pink. Now, at the very top of the stem, add some leaf-looking shapes to represent flower buds that have not begun to open yet. And if you'd like to add an extra element to these buds on top, you can even add in just a hint of this gamboge yellow to the very tips while the paint is still wet. All right, now let's add in just a few of the tall grasses that sprout at the base of the gladiolus plants. For a finishing touch to this painting, let's switch over now to the smallest round brush. Now take a bit of black paint and paint in a few center stamen on each flower. These can be pointed in different directions on each flower to create the appearance of the flower facing in a slightly different way. Now, while we finish this painting up, at the beginning of the video, I promised to show you the best and my personal favorite ceramic palettes. This little palette you've probably seen in some of my other tutorials. It has 12 wells, and I like to use this when I'm trying out new colors, when I need a lot of paint mixed up, or when I just want to have paints all ready to go for my videos or my paintings. This is a great little palette and super easy to clean out. Now moving on to my go-to everyday ceramic palette. I replaced my old plastic palette for this one just a while ago, and I love it. It has 17 wells and 2 mixing trays. It's small, but it's just right for my favorite, most used colors, which I write the names of on the side of the palette with some tape and a pen. The best part about this palette is because it's ceramic, it doesn't stain like my previous plastic palette did. All right, it's finally time for the most ultimate and amazing palette ever. This is one that I just recently acquired, so I don't have my tube paint set up in here yet. But this ceramic palette comes with a plastic cover over the top, which is nice to help keep your paints clean, and it allows you to stack and put things on top of it when it's in storage. This is a little over 12 inches on each side. It's got 24 wells in a circle with 8 more in the corners. The wells in this one are slightly slanted into the center, which is a feature that the palette I just showed doesn't have. But I love this because it makes it a little easier to get the paint out and move it into the mixing tray. The mixing tray in the middle is nice and big, and there are notches along the outside edge that I'm assuming would somewhat help prevent colors on the tray from spreading and bleeding into each other. This is a super nice palette, and I can't wait to get it set up for painting with. Now, surprise! All of the palettes that you have seen today actually are all Meeden brand palettes. This company puts out some of the best ceramic palettes I have ever seen, and they have even more different styles to choose from than what I have shown you today. I highly recommend these. I literally use this brand of palette every time I paint and will continue to do so for a good long time. If you'd like to see more of this brand's palettes or any of the other products that you saw today, I have a link to their website listed in the description of this video. And that's it for today's Gladiolus painting and tutorial. Thanks so much for painting with me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider subscribing to my channel so I can continue to help you discover your artistic side.